Do you hear? Do you see my screen now?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. Sure. Uh, First of all, um, you don't have a four-color deck. I don't know if you've noticed. And that's
No, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was playing that before, but I haven't changed it on GG. But
From
yeah, I should change that.
from the knowledge that you have, which is very interesting. Um, it was kind of shocked me that you don't have four-color deck. Another thing, I don't know what videos you watch and what content you're going by. It's a very interesting style of sizings, and
Yeah.
I don't know where you get that from, but I think you're overcomplicating a lot of things that are just maybe you're watching videos for 500 no limit or 200 no limit, and dress for the
So that,
job you apply
yeah, go
for.
on.
You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah, so that was the kind of problem I had. I guess it's coming from sit and go. So I was gonna say to you, like one of my biggest, like probably leaks is my sizings and like post flop sizings.
it's not the leak. It's not. I wouldn't say leaks. They're just weird.
Just
Um,
weird. Oh, okay, fair.
Now, at some point, you're talking about a board that doesn't even hit the opponent, and you even say it. He's like, "Yeah, he usually has this and this and this," and then you say, "So this board hits him pretty good." Although whatever you just said doesn't even hit him.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah.
I'm
Was
like,
that the nine queen offsuit one?
"Yeah,
Nine
yeah,
queen
yeah,
X.
yeah."
Yeah, from
How
the
do you?
small blind.
But how do you know? But see, how did you remember?
Because there was a couple of hands that I played, and then I realized after that it was
Yeah,
kind of a bit weird. Yeah, I just remember. I remember saying it. Yeah, so I think yeah, I didn't. It felt like I didn't do a great job of like saying my thought process as I was playing. I guess I've never
yeah.
really done.
I
I
was gonna.
kind of got a little muddled up and couldn't really say what I wanted to
Yeah,
all the
and
time.
I'll tell you why. You're trying to play four tables and comment on it. And honestly,
Yeah,
I try to make a like instructional video, and I'll try to play four tables. There is no fucking way you explain everything you want to
yeah,
explain.
yeah,
I mean, unless you're like rapping like Eminem or something. I don't know, but
yeah,
it's kind of
yeah.
yeah, it is hard to explain everything. So just we're not gonna do any of those anymore. But play
Yeah,
whatever's
for the
comfortable.
future, yeah.
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 You say you opened 2.2 from early position or middle position and 2.5 from cutoff and the button.
Yeah.
What is the reason behind that?
Well, I'm just opening bigger because obviously you want to play bigger pots in position and then keep it smaller out of position.
Okay. What range are you opening from the button? Do you open
From
wider or you open
Yeah,
tighter?
I'm opening wider. Yeah, I'm opening like 50, just a bit over 50% at the moment, I think.
So you're saying that your range from the button is not as strong than the one from under the gun,
Yeah.
but yet you're playing bigger pots
Yeah, just
with a
because I don't want to
weaker
be playing
with
bigger pots out of position, I thought.
yeah with a weaker range. You're playing bigger pots.
Yeah.
Do you see any kind of a problem with that?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I'm not saying so. There should be somehow of a balance. I get it that you play bigger pot and in position is very important,
Yeah.
but on the small stakes, the micro stakes, people generally will not play the way they're gonna play on mid stakes. So
Okay.
playing your range compared to the board, compared to their range, becomes little by little not very important because they're not gonna
I
play the
see.
way you
Yeah.
think they're gonna play. They're gonna play the
They
way
got a tighter
they
range
yeah they think
with a
they're gonna play the way they want to play. Not
yeah.
they're not gonna play
Okay.
the proper way. They're gonna play the way oh I have a fucking bottom pair and I think he's bluffing and that's it. Because who in their right mind, who's a recreational player, gonna fold the river for 45 cents? They just want to see your cards, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who
Makes
cares?
sense.
It's 45
Mm.
cents. So, contrary, if you play 100 no limit, it might be $4 or $5. Now we're talking more money. If it's 500 no limit, that's going to be like $20 on the river as a bluff, for just an example. Or even
Yep.
for $1.25, if you want to compare $1.25 on 500 NL would be $60, give or take, if you bluffing on the river. Now they have a bigger chance of folding there. So basically how the range is formed, and I'm not sure what ranges do you have and how you form them, but the general rule of thumb that it's good for you to follow is the tighter the range, the bigger the sizing I can afford to make it, because my frequency of opening is slower. So if you open only aces, you can get away with opening all in, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now if you add kings, queens, and ace king, that all in becomes, 100 big blinds opening becomes not that good because you have more cards that beat you. So there's more chance of somebody having hand that dominates you later on. So maybe you want to open to 80 big blinds. This is a ridiculous example. I just want to let you know.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
I want it to serve a purpose. But now if you open, like my button is 63% open, I cannot afford to open 2.5 big blinds, man. I can afford to open. If I can open 1.5 big blinds, I will, but I can't. So I open just 2. So
Okay,
the
yeah,
wider the range becomes, the less I want to open because I cannot defend. You know what I'm gonna do with you? Once I learn your range, you open 2.5 big blinds from the button. I'm gonna 3-bet you like a motherfucker, and you have to fold 80% of the time because your range is so wide, or 70% of the time. So 70% of the time, I'm gonna be profiting 2.5 big blinds automatically. But then because you have a tighter range from under the gun and you give me a way better price, I'm gonna flat you with pocket pairs way more often and play back. You giving me more incentive to flat versus your under the gun and play back at you when I'm in position. If I'm middle position, cutoff or button, I'm gonna play against you more. With that said, I am not saying that any of those people here understand what's going on and they will do that strategy, because most likely they don't know what's going on. But ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, without thinking of what they think of you, because I don't think most of them think about your game. Most of them just think about their game. You know what I mean? They're not that good yet. I don't know if you're gonna agree or disagree with me on that, because seeing how you play, you might think on one level above the level that you need to think on. You basically, you hear me? Things weird.
Yeah. Can you hear?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. This is Skype. I changed headsets for this because it was happening loads on my other one, but it keeps doing it. I have to try and get the plug-in one or something for next session.
I think you need to change your computer. But no, I'm just kidding. You just it more, I don't know, might be the. But if you change the headset, it doesn't matter. So I was saying that I don't know if you're gonna agree with me on this one, but I think that you think that the players are way better than they are. You're kind of leveling yourself with ranges, with sizings, with I think that they think that I think no. So you know the levels, right? Level 1 is my cards. Level 2 is what I think the opponent has. Level 3 is what I think the opponent thinks that I have. They're not there yet. And what you're doing is you're on level 4. You're thinking, what do I think the opponent thinks that I think that they have? And they're still on level 2. They're just thinking about their cards. You know what I mean? They're not thinking.
Sure.
So now you're beating yourself. You're value betting yourself. Basically, if certain hand you play in a certain way, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna bet here because he's gonna think that I think that he thinks that I have this, but actually he's not even there yet. So instead of just betting and him calling, because all he thinks about is, oh, I have a pair. You know what I mean? So you're basically, in some spots, you're checking instead of betting because you're leveling yourself. And in some spots, you're betting to represent something because, oh, I'm representing here. They're not thinking about that.
Yeah.
For the
I'm
most
playing
part.
how my range plays, but I should just be playing my cards.
Play your ABC. To beat a player, you need to think on only one level above them, not 2, not 3. Now, even if Ivy comes to play here on 2NL or 10NL, he will still need to tone it down a notch a little bit to be able to beat him. There's no way you play against Tom Duan the same way as you play against Joe Schmo on 10NL. It just doesn't work the same way. They have different tendencies. They think the same. They think differently. It's just how it is. I'm not sure what example to give you. Even if you play with the same football, with the same soccer ball. I mean, if you have a fucking professional striker and me, it's the same ball, right? Well, it's very
Yeah.
different. Like one's been trained, once knows that the goalkeeper jumps the right way X% of the time, and there's me that I'm just gonna kick it and whatever it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with that said, I suggest you think of your sizings and do them accordingly. My suggestion is open 3 or 3.5 under the gun because it's the tightest range, and then you go down to 3, then you go down to 2.5, and then you go down to the button that is 2 or 2.2, whatever you want. But also the C bets. But I'm saying that you basically open a wider. That allows you to open a wider range. The wider the range, the smaller the sizing should be. It just makes sense. And yeah, I get it. I've heard that the thing that you play bigger pot in position, but then you have a trash hand. You know what I mean? You cannot c-bet
Yeah.
100%. I get it. The c-bet from the button is going to be a higher frequency, but once they call you once, now you even spent even more money to c-bet. That's why my c-bet from the button has less bluff. So my c-bet from the bottom is not as big as under the gun, for example, because I know they're going to defend with a decent range, and I know they're going to float on the flop. Why c-bet if you know that those two things are going to happen? But all in all,
Yeah.
the general strategy